Recently I made this video about how to recruit Mithara without losing health in Karlach and so on. The fact is what I tried to do correctly following the plot, but it turned out that various tricks that worked before no longer work, and I found a mod that decides to share with you in friendly way. And what did I get? So guys, would be very interesting to know if you just don't like mods or maybe I'm doing something wrong. Let me know please down below in the comments of this video. And now to the point. In the comments of this video, many people also wrote that losing Halsin did not feel any change and that he is completely useless, and even though it's impossible to remove the shadow curse without him, they still choose Mithara. I can understand you if you look at the stats of Halsin is just complete mess, but I have upgraded his character and I want to assure you that he can be very powerful ally that you would hardly want to lose if he was that way from the beginning. How do you feel about making him a Necromancer-Summoner? See further.
As you understand, if your character specializes in summoning various creatures, it's unlikely that they will be able to deliver huge single instance damage. On the other hand, I can't recall a situation where a game played through such a necromancer or warlock who summons various extraplanar entities and raises the dead from their graves to straighten their army could boost huge damage numbers. However, in third Baldur's Gate, those drawbacks are completely negated by the fact that the game itself doesn't really require an extreme maximum. There are no truly challenging encounters with dangerous enemies in this game that would force the player to squeeze the most out of the available characters. So, from the perspective of completing game content, nothing restricts you from proper role-playing and creating your small army of undead. In my humble opinion, the best fit for the role of Necromancer in the third game isn't Wizard under Necromancer class, but a Druid from Circle of Spores, especially then measured by their ability to summon more creatures under their command. So, let's quickly go through leveling and which feats, abilities and spells you should choose to maximize your capability. First, we choose the Druid class, of course. Regarding feats, as for Shalila, the standard ones for Druid class are not really needed, as we will have a summoner speciality tailored for ranged combat, so we remove it and put it in guidance, which will never be redundant. As for abilities, the most logical distribution would probably be something like this. Charisma and intelligence, especially if it is not our main character, you definitely won't need. It's better to leave strength for penalties and to carry more items. Maximize dexterity in the second place and wisdom first, as it is our main ability and all our spells will be calculated based on this value. At the second level of Druid, we can choose a subclass and get all our main features. Of course, we choose the Circle of Spores. Regarding spells, let's throw away almost everything living healing, create or destroy water, which will never be superfluous. You can also consider speak with animals, and you might choose Fairy Fire. At the third level we don't gain anything extraordinary, but a very useful spell, especially at early levels. It's Moonbeam, which is worth preparing. At the fourth level we gain another feat. Actually there is nothing particularly important here. We can pick up Shalila, even though we don't need it much. For spells consider Spike Growth, which is good for crowd control. As for feats, at the fourth level it's worth choosing an ability score improvement, maximize wisdom and don't think too much about it. The fifth level of the Circle of Spores Druid grants us ability to animate the death, sparing us the need to learn it. This spell is required. As for other spells, prepare Coal Lightning, the second one is up to you, for example Flame Blade. Finally, at the 6th level of the Circle of Spores Druid, we gain the ability to spam a large number of mushroom undead, so to speak. We get the fungal infestation action, allowing us to raise zombies from decayed and mushroom-infested corpse. Although they don't have significantly more HP and are not much different from regular zombies, but they come in large numbers. As for subsequent spells, again, there's nothing particularly interesting here, you can choose whatever you like. At the 7th level we gain 2 more spells of the class, which eliminates the need to prepare them in usual way, allowing us to fill those slots with something else. In this case, summoning forest creatures and summoning a lesser elemental could be good choices. At the 8th level we gain enough feat, we can prepare for example Ice Storm. As for feat, we can continue maximizing wisdom. You can choose for example Warcaster to gain the advantage on concentration checks, but that's purely your choice. I will go with Warcaster. At the 9th level we gain access to 5th level spells, and of course we prepare another summonable creature, namely a Conjure Elemental. After this point I will finish with leveling, you can upgrade further whatever you like. Now I'll briefly talk about the advantages of using the Circle of Spores Druid for the game, especially its version, which allows us to absorb damage quite well. So first of all we have access to Symbiosis with Spores. It consumes our charge of Wild Shape and grants you a certain amount of temporary hit points depending on your level. For example, at the 9th level this is more than half of your standard HP value, considering that you have 2 charges of Wild Shape and they replenish after a short rest. If you calculate it before a long rest, you will have more than 200 temporary hit points in reserve. Furthermore, when you are in state of symbiosis with spores, all your attacks also deals 1d6 times critical damage. Returning to the peculiarities of Circle of Spores Druid, it's worth mentioning that class action, the Halo of Spores. This allows you to deal 1d6 non-critical damage at this action. If you consider the Symbiosis of Spores, which doubles the damage of spore cantrips, you can say it's a good free damage boost, especially since ranged combat usually doesn't require you to use reaction, especially at the beginning of the game. So that's about it. This is where this video ends, and it's still called Necromancer-Summoner build. In reality, it's more of a simple overview of this class for those who are thinking about playing it to have a good chance to summon various creatures and raise the dead. Oh, and it's in the 3rd act. There is good equipment for this class, but you can find it yourself if you really want to. And I thank you for watching. Please like this video if you enjoyed it, and see you in my next videos.